In this video, we compare the gradebook for the three LMSs.
So all of them basically have some sort of place where you can go to access the gradebook. So if I go in Brightspace, I go to Grades, and here is my gradebook. Now, all of them you're able to import and export in some way, and all of them have quick ways to change the values of stuff. So, for example, if I've got this untitled assignment here, if I just had hand graded them and done something, I could just quickly go through and type down, hit number, return, number, return, number, return. I could also import from something else if I had done a particular thing. The other nice thing is you can integrate, so if you have, don't save, if you have some particular value that you're going to give for something, and like all of the kids got 90 and you don't want to have to go through and write 90 every time, you can go ahead and put in, I think I might be in the wrong spot, set grades. So I can go to set grades, put in 90 and save it, and it's going to apply that to whichever kids I just selected here. So you can apply it to a bunch of kids and then do it for someone else. Okay.
So it's got like a summary overview, and you click into the detailed view for each assignment.
You can click into the detailed view for each assignment. This is this with Brightspace. You have this standard view or spreadsheet view. With the standard view, I can see where there is submissions. So these little things will tell me that there's a submission, and then I can go into the particular submission from there. So that's another way to access the grading that you need to do. Here is an essay without Google assignments, and it's going to allow me to go through every person that has submitted. Right, so that's only the people that have submitted. And so I can publish, I can put in my sample rubric, and go back. There's a whole, so that's under integrates. You can also manage the grades. With this is still within Brightspace. So you'll notice that I've got categories of daily work, quizzes, and essays, and sort of the weighting of each of those sections. So that's all stuff that you can change in reorder. You can do a bulk edit. So this one will, oh wait, I need to select all of them. So you have to, in Brightspace, they very much go through this, like you have to select the people. In the other two, you'll see, you just kind of get to see everything if you go to edit. But this is kind of nice because if I, suddenly decided, oh, I'm changing these categories, I can do just a quick change of a lot of different things instead of having to click into every single thing that I needed to change. If I was like, oh, my weighting is not right, I need to change what the weighting is or the grade scheme that I'm using, I can get in there and kind of quickly change that stuff. And they have this whole setup wizard in Brightspace that like works you through a whole bunch of different things, like what type of, so do you want a weighted system? Do you want points? Are you going to have your final grade based off of some custom formula? And then it just keeps going. So final grade is released. Can you allow you to modify, right? So it goes through a whole bunch of these settings, and it just walks you through those settings in Brightspace. And then you can manage your schemes, which is like, if I show you add new scheme, you can kind of see the basic idea, right? That you can, if this was an A, or if it was meets expectations, or it was whether you wanted to use letter grades or other things, it can tell you what sort of the starting percent value is versus assigned value, and you can
Do that per assignment, or
you can change the different scheme that you use for each assignment. So here's one example of a letter grade scheme.
okay.
So it starts at these values, and that's what it's assigned. Similarly, in Canvas, you can kind of see here, this one has a submission, so if I click on it, I click off of it, you can see there's some sort of submission there. If I click on it and I hit this little arrow, it kind of shows me some options I can do. I've already written some comment on that. And then I could go into SpeedGrader, which would pull me back into that thing that I was showing you earlier. So, and then I could switch between different students there.
Is there, if you click on one student, because sometimes I have students in my office and I want to just look at their grades without seeing
Yeah.
other students' grades.
So if I just search for that one student,
Oh,
I can
good.
just show
Okay,
them.
that's cool.
I think that would probably be true with these guys too. Like if I search for Brandy, I only see that one student. Yeah.
Where do you control what the students see? And when they go to the gradebook?
So I think that is also within those gradebook settings for the different LMSs. And I'll show you in a moment I can show you what the gradebook looks like on their side. Let's see, here you can only show like particular groups, so you can change, like I can change it to only look at the papers that I've had. I can import, export. I can filter, so I can change the filters with this. I can also, if I want, change and sort. So if I wanted to see by a certain grade the kids, I can sort by that particular column, or I can sort by the total, or I can sort by individual quiz. Brightspace similarly allows you to do that. You can sort, you can just click on this and it would sort if I get out of this one particular user. So I can, am I still showing? Oh, clear result, clear result. So I can click to sort it by that particular thing, by up or down. Schoology, you get to the gradebook, and it similarly, you've got all of the students. The only thing that you can sort by is their name. So you can change it to first name, last name, A to Z or Z to A, but you cannot sort by the assignment, which I found very unfortunate. So you cannot do a search. You cannot sort by a particular assignment in Schoology. Again, with Schoology, you can see these particular assignments have posts and go to them and review the specific post within there, and then you can look up here and be able to toggle through anyone that has a submission. Similarly,
If you click on the highlighted thing at the very top of each column, is that taken to the assignment itself?
it does. Yeah. Yep. One thing and then you can do the bulk edit. This one is actually kind of nice because you can, and all of them have a version of this where you can change all of the due dates at once, right? So if you've had something happens and you need to move them, you could quickly change, like, okay, this now needs to be due on the 1st, this one needs to be due on the 3rd, and you could go through and quickly change those due dates for all of your various assignments, change what they are, change how they're categorized, what their points are, and various things. So the different versions have different versions of this, but I thought all 3 of them have being able to edit the due dates quickly by looking at it, which I thought was super useful. Let's see, what else? Other questions? I've kind of gone. All of you kind of deal with the schemes, bulk edit assignments. categories. All of them have stuff to do with that. The one thing about I would say Brightspace has a kind of more complicated gradebook scheme, and that when you create an assignment, you have to actually do an extra step to have that go to the gradebook, which depending on your perspective could be good or bad, right? Like if you want to really be able to control your gradebook and have lots of control and flexibility in your gradebook, Brightspace is probably better, but that leads to some complications in terms of having to do an extra step. I ended up with these couple of assignments here, Untitled and Essay 1, that I cannot figure out how to get rid of. Like, they're not worth any points, but they show up in there, and like, I can't find them anywhere. Like, I'm not sure where they are. But in terms of what the students see, so the students in Brightspace will see this, and if there is a graded, if there's some sort of feedback, they'll be able to access that feedback there.
Do I get to see when they've seen it?
That is a good question that I don't know the answer to. You can type that in there if you want. So they see these grades. There's also, so they get all of this grades. You can look at any graded rubrics. And there is class progress, kind of goes into more detail. Again, like it's got a lot of stuff, right? So you can look at the summary of your objectives and content and discussions and assignments, and you can look at how much content you've gone through. So like this gives just a lot of information to the student that might be too much, depending on what age you're teaching. You can see I don't believe that there's any quick way with Brightspace to see that there's new information. And that may be one of those modules that could pop up, or the widgets. In Canvas, you can see right here that it tells me what recent feedback I have. And Schoology, I don't know if Schoology does. I had written this stuff down. So that's one piece, is that let me show the grades. So this is from the student perspective right now. If I click on grades, this is what I see in the student perspective. This will give me any notes that are there. I can show details and see all of the comments right there that have happened, and any rubrics that I have been given, or I can hide those details and just see my work. I can also arrange it by assignment group or name. I can change and I can go to different courses right there. So I can like toggle between my different courses if I'm looking at the grades. And then if I click on these, I can go directly to the assignment. And Schoology is the student. I also see these pieces. I can click on the particular assignment and go to that feedback and see what has been given to me. But you can't with Brightspace, you can't click into those pieces to look at the assignment itself. You can get to the feedback, but you can't get to the assignment, which I thought. This is still student view, yeah. So with the student view,
They can go back and they can say, well, what the heck did I do 2 weeks ago? They got me this grade, but it worked.
they can go back and look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And any feedback would be there, right in there. Yeah. And I think just the advantage of Canvas and Schoology is that you can actually click into, you can directly link into those specific submissions. But you can't do that in Brightspace. You cannot click into the assignment directly from the gradebook.
The students or the teachers or both?
This is student side. Teachers can. unless there was feedback, right? So, but you can't go into the assignment from the gradebook if you want to be like, oh yeah, what was that discussion or the handwritten notes? What was the assignment? You can't go into it. Let's see. Those are kind of the big things. Are there any questions? They're complicated gradebooks.
Do you know if it might be in the settings for the actual account in general or for the course? Can it email students once grades are submitted?
That's a good question. So you can, the email feature, you can in Schoology, I think, have them, I think you can change the notifications so that those things can happen. One thing that just so you know, like Schoology emails really, or its messaging system is not very robust. You can email a kid, they can set a notification so that if they hadn't finished something by the due date, they got an email. But both Canvas and Brightspace have ways to get in and actually email kids. So you could be like, I'm going to email every kid that got below an 8 and send them an email. Or I'm going to, email every kid that hasn't submitted it yet, or whatever. So there's lots of options there in terms of how you email kids. Or message them. I think one of them calls it messaging and one calls it email. Okay? So that's the gradebook.